Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we are going to make another macrame bracelet. This one's going to be a little bit different. We're going to start with some hemp cord. And so this is, because I am using hemp cord, we are going to have a much thinner bracelet than we would if we were using a heavier cord. But I think... yeah, it's not much different than if I were to use Ceylon, but we're going to use hemp. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do here. And I'm actually going to do a little bit different. Now I'm going to use my mini macrame board. I love these. They are the best. And we're going to take one of these pieces, and we're just going to cut it so it goes from end to end. And it, like I said, it is thin. So we're going to get some other little beads here. Namely, I'm going to get our little these are the wooden beads from out of our FOC. Now I'm going to get the little copper ones. Now these copper ones are going to I actually may just use the copper, not use even the wooden at all, but we'll see. So what we're going to do is we're going to dump some of these copper ones out. I'm going to put them in a little tray so I have them close by, but not worrying about them getting dumped over, hopefully. Put these down here. I'm going to take my hemp cord and we're going to put one of the crystals on the end. Now if you need to, which looks like we do, we can needle this. And by needle, I mean we're going to take a piece of plastic. We're going to take some Loctite gel glue, and we're going to put a little bit right there on our plastic. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take the end of our... So we're just going to take the glue and our string and just sort of twist it up in here, get it nicely coated. And this is going to sharpen this up some. But we have to wait now for it to dry some, because it's going to be wet. And once that dries, then it's going to have a more stable end there. It won't unravel. We may want to cut the end off a little bit because, see, it's a little flat right here. But we'll see. But it needs to dry for a little while. So we're going to sit this down and let it dry. In the meantime, this is going to be our base wire. So this is going to be a thin bracelet. It's not going to be a big one. I may not even use the wood beads. We may just, once we cut this down, we may just use the copper beads. I think that will be pretty. Let's see if it's dry enough. It is. Okay, now that it's dry enough, you see this end is a little bit fat still. So I'm going to take my scissors and we're going to trim that end off, and we're going to trim it at an angle so that it's got a little bit of a sharper edge. And then we will... see, now the bead will go on. But what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to string this wire, this cord, end to end through here. And I'm going to cut this off about right here. This will be about 12 inches. That's more than enough. We don't need any more than that. So now that I have this end cut off on this side, I'm going to take this and we're going to pull it up and we're going to tie a knot here at the end of it. Is this my... No, that's the regular end. Okay. I wanted to make sure it wasn't my needle I was going to knot here, because we do need to have the needle able to take a... We're going to now take one of these little crystals, feed it onto here. And it's going to be our end. So now we're going to take this piece and we're going to just push it down into there. And we're going to do the same over here and push this through here. Now you're probably going, but why did you just needle it if you're going to push it through here? You'll find out as we go along. Now we need about 4 feet, maybe even 5 feet of our hemp cord here. So we're going to get this, our measuring tape out, or our ruler, and we're going to cut, I'm going to cut 5 feet. It doesn't, it's not really, if I have to cut, if I have too much and just cut it off, then that's fine. I'm not going to worry about it. So there we go. So we'll cut, we've cut 5 feet now. Now I'm going to take this and we're going to put it through our macrame cord here. Get rid of our ruler. Don't need it anymore. We're going to put this through here. And because I want these to be about even, we're going to just take this and pull it until it's halfway. Now that it's halfway, we're going to then pull it up here and we're going to start macrameing. Now I'm going to make a slightly different one than I normally do, and that's just, and that one's going to have this one's going to have a twist in it. So we're going to take this one on the left hand side, bring it over, then we'll take the cord from the right hand side, go underneath all these wires, all of the different cords, and then come up. This is extra long, so it's a little bit unwieldy. Okay, now it just looks like a regular knot, and that's fine. Because it is this hemp cord, it's not going to slide as easily as others, so we'll just push it up there. Now we're going to, instead of going over like a regular macrame knot and coming this direction, what we're going to do is keep using this one. And we're just going to always use this one. And it's going to come over, and you're going to tie your knots the same way as always. But now it's just always going to be just this one. Starting from the left and going through. And we'll just keep going with this knot, with just from the left. And this, what this is going to do by going from the left only, is it's going to make a twist in our cord. And I will show you that once we get a few of these in. Now, because this is thin, I'm going to do, well, you're not doing full ones, you're only doing half ones. I was going to say I'm going to do 7, but It's not going to really be the same as a 7 because we're doing these half ones. So I'm just going to do it till we get about, probably about to the, down just a little further to this middle line here. Okay, this is pulling a little loose, so I'm going to pull it up some because I want about a 1/2 inch of the macrame, and we're not quite there because even though it felt like we were there, the line had come a little loose and pulled out from right at the very top up there. So we still need to keep going. I want to go to here. So now we have got it to this the 1/2 inch mark. And if you can see it's how it's doing a little twist in here. It's just turning around. Not sure how well you can see the twist since it's small, but hopefully you can. Now that we've got a 1/2 inch there, I'm going to take and we're going to put some beads on here. And I was just thinking I'd just put the one, but I think we're going to put a spacer in there as well, and we're not going to use the wooden ones. Well, do we want to use the wooden ones? I could put the little one, a spacer, and then a wooden one. We'll have to think about if we want to do that. At the very least, I'm going to put the copper one, a spacer, and then another copper one. And this is why we needled this one end, so that we would have those. Let's see how many beads we have that are similar. No, I'm not going to put any of these on. Why? Because even though we have some that are similar, we don't have a lot that are similar, and we're going to be going up and down quite a bit here. So if I'm going to put anything else on here, it will be a different bead, like possibly one of the green ones. So if we get some of the green ones out as well. Now this is a blue cord, but I think the green one's going to be fine. So what we're going to do then is we're going to put the green one on. another spacer, and then another copper one. So then we're going to feed that all the way up there. Between these beads, it's made another 1/2 inch of cord of line there. So now we'll take these and bring them down again, start wrapping these again. So we'll bring this down because we're always going with this side first. Take this side, go through just like we did before. Now we're going to bring this one up, and we're going to want to tighten it up there so that it goes around our beads. Now we'll keep going down for about another 1/2 inch and then we'll put beads on again. Okay, I think we're just going to do one more tie here. Come on, you go over there. And then we're going to put beads on again. So we're doing like a 1/2 inch of tying. Well, we may need one more. And then the beads and 1/2 inch tying, and so on as we go down the line here. Now this wants to go over here, and I'm going to let it because right now we're going to put beads on, so it won't matter so much when we get done. So it's going to be a copper, a spacer, green, spacer, copper again. Slide that up to where we're at there. Put our string back through the end here. And now we're right there. And as you can see, we have this really pretty twist going through the line here. Now we're going to go back to tying again. So over. And again, like I say, we just want to keep going the same way. With a normal macrame knot, you switch off from, from which one is your dominant one, or, you just go back and forth. Like this one would be one, and then you start with the other one to make the other one. With this particular one, you always start with this side, and that's what causes it to do this twist in here. Now, I had some of my group ask me, well, do we have to do the macrame bracelets with leather, or can we use cord? And I said, you can use cord, but you got to remember that the size of your cord is going to ascertain how thick your bracelet is going to be. And let's face it, we're not going to be really thick here because we are just having this one cord. Now this would also make a really pretty anklet if you wanted to do more and make it into an anklet. You could do that. So we have 2.5 inches right now. Now this came down into this 1/2 inch mark, so we're going to have to come down here a little bit further. I'm going to loosen it and see about how long this thing is. It just needs a few more stitches though. So now I haven't been counting these, and if you want an exact amount, you can always count your individual loops here. Like I said, I have not been, but I think we're at about our 1/2 inch. Looks like yes, we are. So I will just leave this off because we're going to put our beads on. So and if you wanted, you could just put a bigger bead on here, like a rice bead, a longer bead, or a tube bead, or something like that. And then you wouldn't need to have 3 like I have put on here. I just like the 3. I think it looks cool. preference thing, you know. 1, 2, we're almost at 3.5 inches because of course we have the 1/2 inch there. So, well, this says this is 1 inch. So there's 1, 2, and we are at 3. Because it would be this line here. And now we're going to head towards 4. Oops, almost knocked my tray of beads off here. So now we're just going to keep going with our macrame. Always again starting from this side and coming over with this side. Come on, baby, go through there. I didn't get a good hold on it. It wanted to loop up on me, so. Now, as you can see, it's trying to turn itself over, and that's fine because it's got the twists in it. I am not going to let it turn itself over because we are making this pattern, and if it turns itself over and I start with the other one in the middle of the pattern, you might get a flat spot. Okay, come on, you. Turn so that you can pull up there. There we go. Now we may have our 1/2 inch we need right here already. Let's pull our cord up so that we can come check it. Yeah, it's perfect. So we'll tighten this. No, we don't want to tighten it back up, duh, Rose. But we are going to let these strands go to the other side now. And why am I going to do that? Because we're going to put the beads on so the twist is no longer being worked up right now. So we're just going to do this part. So we're going to put our beads on, and then when we come back to doing it, we'll start with this side. So, of course, we want our copper, spacer, green, spacer, and copper. Slide them up. Bring our cord back into play down here. And now we're going to start on our next 1/2 inch of twisty knots. So again, we're going to start with this string, bring it over, bring our one from this side over, go underneath all these, and come up. And now I want to pull it up so that it's holding the beads up pretty tight. And again, we're always going to start from this side so that we get our twist in there. If you go back and forth, as I said before, you'll get the regular flat macrame line. All right, what have we got going on here? There we go. Come here, you. Now I have got a knot and a bead at the end of this on the other side over here, holding that up into my macrame board. And there is a couple of choices for when we get to the end to end this. Choice number 1 is to leave some space and do a flat macrame, a cord across the back to make a slider piece. The other option is to remove the knot so it's really close and re-knot it so it's really close to our piece up here at the end. Tie a knot in the cord, put a clamshell on and tie a knot in the cord, and we'd end it with clamshells, which we can do. It actually might be the simplest way. So we'll see what we decide to do when we get to the point where I want to end it. Then of course, if we have a clamshell on the end, we can put a lobster claw on the end. So I don't know if you guys can see the twist. I really want you to be able to see the twist. So we'll probably bring it up closer sooner or later. I think we're almost at where we put the beads on right now. So we'll pull this off so we can check and see if we're at that 1/2 inch mark. If we're not, we only need like one more. So I may put in that one more. So there's one more, and now we're going to let these go to the other side, and we're going to pull the other one up and put our beads on now. Of course, we want the copper, spacer, green, spacer, and copper. Up they go. Pull this baby down here and put her through number 3 down here. Bing. Now, this is what I mean. I don't know if you could see that while we were actually macrameing, but just put it through here to hold it in place as we're working. Now we're going to work on the next set here. And then we'll pull the beads up tight. Okay, looks like it's got the 1/2 inch in there. We could maybe do one more stitch just to be on the safe side. Flip it over because we're going to go with the next one after the set of beads. There's 5 sets there, coming down to about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 6 inches. Now I could end it right here because if we're going to use the lobster claw and such, we probably want it to be smaller. Let's see. Come here, you. I'm going to put another turn on there, I think. So hook this baby back up here, nice and tight. And we're going to put our next bunch of beads on. Copper, spacer, green, spacer. Oops, that one doesn't want to go on. That's fine, we have another one here. And copper. I'm fairly positive this is where we're gonna call it a day as soon as we get this next 1/2 inch in here. So, over. Tighten her up. And then we're just going to keep going from the left, go over all the cords, bring the right one underneath, and come up and tighten up. And we're just going to keep doing that until we get our next 1/2 inch done. Oop, where are we going here? Come here. Okay, something's messed up here, so let's do another one here. Start it over again. There we go. And I think we may have our 1/2 inch. Let's find out. Yep, we do. Okay, so now I bet we have about 7 inches of bracelet here. And we do. So we're going to end right here. And these cords are the last ones. So we've got an option here. If we're going to go into clamshell, if we can get all 3 lines in, we could do that. But I don't think we really want to do that. Well, we'll see if we can get all 3 into a clamshell. I have decided to do a clamshell ending on this instead of a macrame ending, since I did make it this long. So, let loose. So it will, it's a nice, delicate little bracelet. Come around like so. But I don't know if you can see the twists, but the twists are so fun. So, actually, let's hold it with the bead here. Come here, you. So I do need to find some clamshells. We also need to tie this off right here. And we can just tie that off by just tying a regular overhand knot in it. And then we'll put a dab of glue there afterwards. And then that ends that. We'll put a we'll put a dab of glue right here on the end, and I probably put a dab of glue right here on the end here too, just to make sure it stays in place. And then we'll cut that extra cords off. So I'm just going to put that dab of glue on both sides before I go and find my clamshells, and that way it will hopefully be dried by the time I get back. So I'm just going to squeeze just a teeny bit of gel out and just put it right down here on the end on both sides. Just a tiny bit. Since this is a cloth or a hemp cord, it's not going to require a lot. Just enough to make sure it doesn't decide it wants to come out. So as soon as these dry, I'm going to probably get my burner out and burn them off rather than try cutting them. That way they'll probably stay off better. Now I don't know if you could see the twists in our macrame or not. I'm hoping you can, because they're really cool. They look really neat, and like I say, this is just the same as making a regular macrame knot, except for you always go from the left-hand side to loop over the top instead of going left, right, left, right. So I've got a couple of clamshells. And now I need to take and make a knot really close to down here. But first we need to put, of course, the clamshell on. And this side is dry and ready to be taken off. Pretty much anyway. So we'll push our little button, get our little thing really hot there, and burn our line off. There's one. though it's not real pretty, so I think I'll take a little bit more off. There we go. Now we'll flip it over to the other side and burn this one off. So there we go. There's our 2 extra bits of line off. So now what we need to do, well, first I'm going to put my lid on and put this away so that I don't get it lost, is we need to feed our one of the clamshells. Oops, there's a hole in the bottom here, and we need to feed this through down all the way into the bottom. So it needs to be right there beside the end of our knots there. So then we need to take and knot our cord, but the knot needs to go down into our clamshell. So what you do is you go through the knot, like through the place where you're knotting like this, take your tweezers, go to the bottom and hold it, and then pull your knot into place like so. Pull your tweezers out, push your knot down in there. Now we're going to fold our clamshell over the knot, see, like so. But of course we're going to put a little glue on our knot first and then cut the excess line off. And I should have done that before I squished it, but I just wanted to show you what I was doing there. So now that we've got the knot in there, we take and put again a little teeny bit of our Loctite super glue on it. Just a little. We just want to make sure that our knot doesn't come undone. Okay. Now we're going to do the same with this side. Now we already had a knot in here, and I think it's pretty tight, so I'll probably want to cut that off. But I need most of the line to make my next knot, so we're going to be real careful with it. But we also need to put our tip on. So hopefully we can go on without having to needle it. Come on, baby, go in there. Come on, I see you there. So let's keep coming on up there. There we go. So get our clam shell all the way down there. Then we'll hope I left enough to make the knot on this side. Go through. Come on, baby. Let me go through here. Here, tweezer. So now we put our tweezer through the loop of the knot. And grab the base of our cord there, bring it up, then we're going to take it and slide her down. Looks like she's down as much as she wants to go there. We got her a little bit more. Okay. I would have liked it a little tighter. See, it's a little loose right there. But unless I try to tie another one, it's not going to make a bit of difference. Let's see how loose you are over here on this side. You're much closer. Still a little bit off, but not that much. But I think this is ready to be burnt. And burnt it was, because it tried to catch on fire. Okay, now we'll pull this in and push our clamshell together. It's a little hot still from the burning, but there we go. I'm wondering if I can get a second knot in that. This one's a little bit small, and I would like a little bit, I would like it a little bit bigger, filling the clamshell up a little more. Now, if you don't think that you're going to get enough of a knot, you can also knot a seed bead into this, a little tiny one. You wouldn't want a big one, so that it's I would like this knot to just go down a little bit more. Wonder if I can get it to go down a little more. I guess it went down a little more. So now we need to put that glue here on this corner, or on this little bit. And then we have to let this one dry. And while that's drying, we can get some jump rings and a lobster claw, or whatever we want to use as a, oops, I'm getting glue on the, we can use a lobster claw, we could use an Old Faithful. I sort of think I'm going to need to check to see how long it actually is on my bracelet mandrel here to tell me what kind of a clasp I want. It says it's just about 7 right now. So I think we're going to go for an Old Faithful. It gives us a slightly smaller, no, not really much, but a slightly smaller signature. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to bump the lights. And so while this is drying, I'm going to go get an Old Faithful clasp. Okay, I think this is probably dry enough to cut her loose now. Make sure you're out. Okay. And close the clamshell up around. There we go. We can put our burner away. Now I've got this a small Old Faithful. It's bronze, but I think it's going to be what we want because I don't want a really large one. So open up a couple of medium jump rings here. I considered using Tinky Tots, but and I just mangled this by trying to open it the wrong way. So it may not be usable anymore. We'll see here. Go through both the loops that you pushed up on your clamshell and then onto your Old Faithful. Close her up. Now, since I did mangle it some, it's not quite closing right, so I'm working it to get it to close properly. There we go. Now we'll get the other side. Make sure I turn it right this way this time, because that's what was wrong with it the last time I did an odd twist. So let's get this on here. And close this baby up. There we go. Now I considered using Tinky Tots here, and I could have, and I see that's not closed properly. So let's get it closed properly. Because let's see how big it is. If it's really big, I may switch these jump rings to a Tinky Tots instead of the 5mm. Yeah, see, it's way down here at 7 3/4 now with having that little bit put in there at the back. So I think we may switch it to slightly smaller jump rings. That'll make it a teeny bit smaller, but not a lot. I think it's going to end up being about 7.5 once I change the jump rings to these smaller ones. And this should work because this isn't a big signature thing. So let's see if we can get these switched to these tiny guys. And like I say, that will take a little bit of the space off, and it also will not be as big a signature over here, taking up this much space. Now if I had wanted to, I could have kept going and made this into an anklet, but I didn't. So okay, and now we've made it just a teeny bit smaller. See, it's about 7.5 now as opposed to 7 3/4. So there is our little twisted macrame hemp bracelet. So There we go. We've made one little twisted macrame hemp bracelet. The beads in here were from my Thunderhorse Descendants Found Objects Challenge bag. I get that it comes out once a month for it. She leaves it out for a couple of weeks. And then you take what's in the bag, whatever you get, and you make some items from it. So this would be a little bigger than I want it. See how it goes a little further on me. But let's see if I can get it to clasp here. Ah, got it upside down. It's not going to clasp upside down. There it goes. So there's what it looks like on. Quite a delicate little bracelet, but it's cute. So I hope you guys enjoyed making this little bracelet with me. Like I said, simple little hemp macrame bracelet, which I think turned out quite nicely. I hope you all liked it. And I don't know if this macrame half knot rather than the full knot was anything new to you, but if it was, I hope that helped you learn a new knot and a new way of doing things. Like I said, this is a twist knot that's just simply doing a half knot of the regular macrame knot. And as you only do the one way, it starts to twist like that. So I think it's pretty cool. And anyway, there we are again. That's what it looks like. Ta-da! It's got a little fuzzy right there. Looks like it still has a little fuzzy right there. There we go. So there's what I mean by the twist in our band. So this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden. The beads for this cute little macrame bracelet came out of my Thunderhorse Descendant Found Objects Challenge. And I hope you enjoyed making it with me. Bye-bye.